Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's podcast, Taking Care of Business today with Jason Ribeiro, who is vice chairman and president of the Calgary Surge in the Canadian Elite Basketball League. Thanks for joining us today, Jason.
Well, thanks for having me, Mario.
Okay, we're going to talk about the business of basketball. Now, this is the third season coming up, right, for the Surge?
Yes, it is. Yeah, third season in Calgary.
Okay, tell me a little bit about how the first two seasons have gone for you guys, more from the on the business side of it and the attraction of people and was it what you expected?
You look, well, from a timing perspective, it's gone by like this. I can't believe, what a blur it's been. But honestly, it's been a bit of a fairy tale, and I don't think under the surface it's been as pretty and twinkly as that. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of learning, a lot of experimentation. But I think really that first season for us was really where we were going to test whether our understanding of the market, our understanding of Calgary, and what the Surge's story would be in the story of the city and its history, whether we were going to call that right or not. And I think not only on the basketball side, being able to go to the championship final in our first year, but just seeing, the sellouts at Winsport, seeing the community engagement, seeing the interest in something different in the sports and entertainment landscape blew every expectation, every financial projection that we had on paper. And so heading into our second season, it was how do we not only retain that foundation, how do we make sure we're not just a flash in the pan, but how do we, make things a little bit tougher for us? And so it was like, I remember this moment where there was a whiteboard in my office and it said, Saddle Dome, year three, year four, year five. And we
Yeah.
just said we got to move that up to year two. And to see over 12,000 people at the Dome, a new CBL record shows, I think, how strong the business case is for basketball and sport and entertainment in Calgary, but also just the strength of the Canadian Elite Basketball League. And to be able to go to another championship weekend final that second year has been really fantastic. So now, year three, we got to make it even harder on ourselves. And I think really that the sky's the limit.
Now, how tough of a sell is basketball in a country that is overwhelmed with hockey and passionate about hockey.
Yeah, like I think I've never looked at it that way. I've looked at it from the perspective of what is the product that we want to actually build. And the product is on a really solid foundation, given the growth and the stability of the CEBL. But more so than that, just the rising popularity of the sport. When I tell people what the polling shows us about how popular basketball is, they get really shocked. And the fact of the matter is that basketball right now is the most popular sport played in the country, second to hockey. But if the trends maintain, at a certain point, it could possibly overtake hockey. And now again, it's not to pit those two sports at each other, and soccer is right there at a close third, but more so to say, we need to give the people what they want. And there are hockey fans, there are basketball fans, there are basketball fans that are hockey fans. And I think any opportunity that we have for more sport, recreation, health and wellness, and just pure entertainment, the better. But the second piece is really important here, is we've tried to build a product that is not just about the pro basketball element to it. People spend a lot of money going to the theater. People spend a lot of money going to arts and culture and music festivals. What if the product that we built encompassed all of those things? And I think that's where we're trying to compete on our own merits to say you're coming for a show, you're coming to be entertained, and whether you're a diehard basketball fan or not, the value will be there.
Yeah, and maybe talk a little bit more about that in terms of from the experience side, the game, right? And my wife and I attend a lot of games during the year, and the first thing we come across as we come into is that whole center court area outside with activities going on, and basketball being played, and beer garden, and all that stuff. And from the moment you walk in and then walk inside, the whole game is an entertainment. You know, why has sports like evolved like that? The Roughnecks and lacrosse have been like that since their inception. The NHL and games and all pro leagues now more and more they're doing stuff at the game that's beyond the game, right?
100%. And I think it's for two reasons. I think part of it is that this is what consumers expect. You can't just be the best basketball product or the best hockey product or the best football product in the country and think that that's going to be good enough because you're trying to cast the wide end of the funnel that not only captures those really diehard sports fans, and I consider myself a good sports fan, but more so than that, people are expecting different things. And what's the second part that's changed is that now the lines of the game have been blurred to encompass more of that entertainment. And I think, selfishly speaking, basketball does that better than anything. You have, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, a Canadian kid, coming off the floor as soon as he's done, and then being named GQ's most stylish man of the year. LeBron's getting off the floor and going to Fashion Week. Damian Lillard's putting out mixtapes as a rap artist. Like these things happen, and people are paying attention, and it's what it adds that level of excitement. And so from the business side, it's not only telling those stories and making sure that that cultural influence is there. We spend a lot of time on our apparel. We spend a lot of time making sure that we're meeting the arts and culture community where they're at. But more so than anything, it's making sure that we're taking that extra effort to say, casual fan, diehard fan, you're going to come away with value. You're going to come away entertained, and we will be unique in the market for that reason.
Now, the other part of marketing of the team is some of the stuff that you do outside of the venues, right? And you had a pop-up at CF Chinook Center. You had like a mini court there. Like, how important was something like that as well for the marketing of the team?
Yeah, I think it's not as calculated as you might think in terms of a strategy. It's really, you know, we want to do cool things. And if something's cool and we think that we can pull it off, in the early stages of the business, this is the time to do it. And to see, the ability of just laying a basketball court in a mall and having, hundreds of kids come through and participate in a camp like they were in a recreation facility shows us how we can adaptively use space, show us how we can adaptively come to the community. And people are, coming to libraries, people are coming to rec centers, people are coming to malls. Why wouldn't we go meet them where they're at? And so I think there's certainly a lot of experimentation that happens in the off season, not from the perspective of, hey, we need to get something going here because we have such a short season and we want to make sure that we're continuing to be active, but more so, what an opportunity when we're not distracted by putting on these, humongous live events, what an opportunity to test some of our assumptions and really incubate new ideas that we can then embed into the season. So to take that sport court, which is a risk, we rented that court and then we bought part of the court, and now we're preparing to take that to some winter festivals as well to see outdoor play with the sport court. Has just been a really interesting opportunity to say how many cool places can we lay that court into. So now it's been at malls, it's been at theaters, and I can't wait for the next places that we take that to. All while building, I think, the live events brand of the Surge.
Do you think the success of the league is would have been possible without the success of the Toronto Raptors in the NBA?
No, I think we were very deferential. And I say this as a kid who, lived in Southern Ontario, saw the birth of the Raptors, lived in downtown Toronto during the playoff runs. It was visceral and it was captivating, and it showed that this could be successful here without compromising who we are as Canadians. This is really we the North. This is really Canada's team and Toronto's team. And I have to say, so much of the instincts that I've brought and embedded into the Surge have been because of that unique experience of watching an NBA franchise get born before my eyes and being that kid during Vinsanity, during all of these different playoff runs, seeing even the Jurassic Park take place outside of the venue is a lot of the reasons why we do a lot of things outside the venue. And I think we're going to
Yeah.
continue to do outdoor screenings and the like. So I think certainly as an operator, it's been invaluable to have that. But for the stability and the growth of the sport to build an entire league around, I think the Toronto Raptors deserve a lot of credit for that.
All right. Last question I wanted to ask you is, in the last, I don't know, within the last year, anyways, the league announced its partnership with Drew Green, who, heads up a very successful chain of stores, Indochino, across North America. What impact is Drew going to have on the league?
Yeah, it's really exciting for us, the existing shareholders, to welcome a new one in, who's as our executive chair, I think going to bring a lot of experience to growing this league and recognizes the really solid foundation we're on. But personally, I'll just say, look, I've spent a lot of time with Drew over the last couple of months, and to see our values mirrored, to see our ambition for how big basketball can be in this country reflected back to both of us has been really heartening. And I think the other owner operators feel the same. And I think the impact really is now we have the business model. We have gone from single entity to majority privately owned in just a couple of years here. Now is the time to build, I think, the professionalization really around our governance, the scale that we want, and this is something that Drew has in Indochino and his other companies, and I think he's just been a great partner to work with over the last 60 days, and I only expect that to continue into the future.
All right. Thanks, Jason, for joining us today.
My pleasure, Mario. Thank you so much.
All right. That was Jason Ribeiro, who is vice chairman and president of the Calgary Surge of the Canadian Elite Basketball League. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's podcast. Thanks for joining us today.